In this lecture you will learn more about the interface of Autodesk Graphic as well as setting up the grid for mini icons. When maximizing the screen, the first thing you see at the left-hand side of the screen is the toolbar. The toolbar contains a number of tools such as the Path Selection tool, Move tool, the Pencil tool, but also some geometry tools such as a Rectangle tool, Rounded Rectangle, Ellipse, etc. At the bottom of the toolbar you can see what's called a color well. It lets you change the color of both the stroke and the fill. At the right-hand side of the screen there are a number of inspector panels. There are 5 different inspector panels, first of which is the Property Inspector panel, where you can see some tabs where you can change, for example, the position, use the path tools, change the grid, change the canvas, etc. There is an Appearance Inspector panel where you can change, for example, the fill and the stroke, and there's a Layers Inspector panel. We'll come back to that in a future lecture. And if you click here on one of the buttons at the top right of the screen, you will see that the interface changes and you can see 2 extra inspector panels. One for the shape library and one for the styles. So right now I want to set up the grid, but in order to do that I need to zoom in a bit on the canvas. There are a number of ways to do that. The first way is by using the zoom tool in the toolbar. When you click it and you see it's highlighted because it's blue, then you can draw a rectangle around the place you want to zoom in on. That's an easy way to do that. Another easy way is here at the bottom left of the screen, where you can change the zoom percentage, for instance, to 100%. But that's still a bit too small to see the grid perfectly. The easiest way to zoom to the entire canvas is using the View menu and Zoom to Fit. There are a number of functionalities you can use, but right now I want to use Zoom to Fit. In order to set up the grid, you want to go to the Properties Inspector panel. You can get it by clicking the ruler at the top of the screen. You can see that there are 5 different tabs on the Inspector panel. The tab we want is the Grid tab. You can see a number of settings here for the grid. The X and Y spacing means there is a horizontal and a vertical line every 12 pixels. The subdivisions means there is a subdivision of the grid every 6 spacings. Now, because we can't see 6 spacing on the canvas right now, I will lower the number of subdivisions and you will see a heavier line coming up. Maybe it's hard to see because the color is a bit too light. We change the color to a darker black and you can see every 3 spacings there is a subdivision right now. In order to have a pixel perfect result, we need to change the X and Y spacing to a single pixel. But now there are far too many subdivisions. For an optimal result, we will set it to 8 subdivisions. So we have 8 subdivisions, each containing 8 pixels, which makes it easy to handle. What we want to do next is give the icon some room, which means we will create a margin around the canvas, which we call the no-go zone. It is a space where you don't want to put any shapes that make up the icon, just to give the icon some more room centered inside the canvas. There's an easy way to do that inside Autodesk Graphic. That's just by setting the left, right, top and bottom margin to a fixed value. We will cut off the top, bottom, left and right 8 pixels in order to give the icon some room. We will do that by changing all the margins to 8 pixels. I will give the subdivisions a lighter color. And that's how the grid is set up to create a pixel-perfect icon. Now we zoom out a bit using my favorite zooming technique, and that's by holding the Alt modifier key and using the scroll wheel. This concludes this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll create our first icon.